Year one of the Mike Elko era in College Station is rapidly approaching, and this is my key three-game stretch for the Texas A&M Aggies in the 2024 college football season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We're also across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. I want to give a quick shout out as well to our friends over at SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com and use the promo code SECU at checkout for $20 off your first purchase. Guys, whatever you need tickets to, they have got it over at SeatGeek. So again, that's promo code SECU at checkout, $20 off your first purchase. Year one of the Mike Elko era in College Station is set to begin this fall. And when you look at this schedule, the hype surrounding Texas A&M, I have talked about it a lot, thinking to myself, maybe this is the year with a brand new head coach. The preseason expectations are maybe they're somewhat conservative, and we give the Texas A&M Aggies an opportunity to overachieve. Then the over-under win totals come out at 8.5 in Vegas. Then the way too early spreads come out, and A&M is favored in practically every game this season. So as we look at the 2024 schedule, there are certainly different pockets on this schedule, different segments of this schedule that we can sit here and debate that are the most important three-game stretch, or that key three-game stretch that's going to help define who Texas A&M is and really going to tell us, are they worth the hype or not? Guys, I think you could look at the first 3 weeks of the season, right? Notre Dame coming to town. You got McNeese there in week 2, but then at Florida in week 3. That's going to tell us a lot about Texas A&M. You look at the end of the season, New Mexico State, yes, but then at Auburn, and of course, the rivalry game against Texas, which that one, guys, it needs no explanation why it is such a big game there at Kyle Field. But the three-game stretch that I look at when talking year one of Mike Elko, the key three-game stretch, and I think the three-game stretch that is really going to determine whether all that hype and all that hoopla was worth it for the Texas A&M Aggies. Because again, guys, there's going to be folks out there picking Texas A&M, and I'm not saying it's wrong, by the way, but there's going to be folks out there picking Texas A&M to go 9-3, to be a sleeper college football playoff contender, even if they're going to get to 8 wins or more. In year one of Mike Elko, I think it's this three-game stretch that truly is going to define the Texas A&M Aggies this season, and it's the month of October for the 12th man. Starting October the 5th against the Missouri Tigers at Kyle Field, October the 19th at Mississippi State, followed by October the 26th as LSU comes to town. I thought about bringing Arkansas into the mix in this three-game stretch, but Texas A&M has handled Arkansas for the most part. That game in Dallas, they've had the upper hand. A&M loses that one, we're having a much different conversation. But this three-game stretch right here, Missouri at Mississippi State, LSU. You got a game in there at Mississippi State, Texas A&M. You're supposed to win. You should win, right? Mississippi State, their own first-year head coach. They're trying to plug holes in that roster. Even though the game's on the road, that's a game we all expect Texas A&M to go on the road and get the victory. But against Missouri at home and LSU at home, I think this is where we're really going to find out who this football team is. We're really going to find out, were they worth all that hype, right? Because even early on, beating Notre Dame would be really nice. They've got their own question marks, of course, with changes at quarterback and some moving pieces on that roster, if you will. But the game is at home as well. At Florida week 3, I think is a really important game for both sides. But, I mean, what is Florida going to be this year? Again, Arkansas and Dallas, always a really intense game. Seems like it's always really close. But what is Arkansas really going to be? So that game against Mizzou, guys, is going to be really the first big test, in my opinion. This is no disrespect to Notre Dame, to Florida, to Arkansas, but Mizzou, I think, is on a different level. And so that 3-game stretch, kicking it off with Missouri, which, by the way, guys, the spreads that came out, Texas A&M is favored in this ballgame by 4 points. Do with that information what you will. At Mississippi State, you should win, and then LSU at home. And this has turned into a really, really fun rivalry. And, of course, the game at Kyle Field, it'll be raucous, it'll be crazy, it'll be electric. You go 2-1. Here's what I think, guys. You go 2-1 in that stretch. It'll tell me, okay, Texas A&M is on track in year one to have a really successful season under Mike Elko. You go 3-0 in that stretch. And I will take a step back because I've been someone, guys, admittedly, I've been a little more conservative on the A&M side because it is year one of a new head coach, and we've done this same song and dance with Texas A&M for the last decade, where we allow ourselves to build up preseason hype to a point where the hype outweighs the on-field production. It has for the last decade. Let's call it for what it is. So I've been more conservative. You go 3-0 in this stretch, though, and it'll tell me all Texas A&M needed was a changing of the guard. All they needed was a change at coach because they've got all the talent. They've got all the pieces. They've got the resources. They've got the facilities. They've got NIL. They've got everything they need in College Station. They got still a really good roster. They crushed it in the portal. And it'll tell me, hey, man, forget realistic year one expectations. Texas A&M is for real. They are a legitimate college football playoff contender. If you're going to be a legitimate college football playoff contender, at minimum, got to go 2-1 in this stretch because you can afford to lose a game or two, right? And you don't have Bama on this schedule. You don't have Georgia on this schedule. You don't have Ole Miss on this. It's a manageable schedule. Not easy, but it's manageable, no doubt. One of the most manageable in the SEC. But this 3-game stretch, Mizzou, at Mississippi State, LSU. I think this is where things start to get real for Mike Elko, and this is where this football team should begin to start playing their best, right? Going into month 2 of his tenure. This is where things are really coming together. You find a way to go 3-0 here. We're talking about Texas A&M as a top, dare I say, 10 team in the country and a team that you can almost pencil in at that point for the college football playoff with what they have left. Even if you go 2-1, still a really successful year. You go 1-2, I think we're talking about first-year growing pains. Doesn't mean Texas A&M won't get to a bowl game. Doesn't mean they can't get to 7-5, but I think it'll go to show if they go 1-2. Maybe some of that offseason hype was just that. It was just hype. It was just hoopla. It wasn't quite deserved in year one. But 2 of the games at home, the 2 big games at home with Mizzou and LSU, State on the road, sandwiched in the middle, I think that is a massive 3-game stretch for Mike Elko and the Aggies. And again, you find a way to go 2-1 or even 3-0 in that stretch, with what you got in the back end of the schedule, could be a really, really special year one in College Station. So, guys, when you look at Texas A&M's 2024 schedule, again, there's a number of different options there. What's the 3 games you look at that you pinpoint as the key 3-game stretch? The most important 3-game stretch for Texas A&M football in year one of Mike Elko. What's the 3-game stretch that you identify as the 3-game stretch that'll define who the Aggies are in the 2024 college football season? Guys, that's going to do it all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. We're all across social media as well. And, of course, guys, go to our website, SECUnfiltered.com, for the latest from us. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the other side.